Welcome to lesson number 4 in Capture and Convert. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to create your email nurture series. Now, here's where we are in the process. You've already determined what your lead magnet is. You know what the landing page is going to be. So now we got to get all these things to work with the email and making sure that we've got the communication ready to go. So I'm going to walk you through how all of this works, how all of it comes together, and how to specifically craft really good emails. So let's talk about drip campaigns for a minute. And we uncovered this definition before, but just to reiterate, a drip campaign is just a series of emails that are coming out automatically over a period of time. Now, one of the reasons drip campaigns are really important is that they drive 18 times more revenue than mass emails. And that's typically because they're more targeted. If people have opted in and they've said, this is what I want to see, and you've built this really beautiful series of emails that follows that's intended to drive towards a key result, you're more likely to get it than just sending them a bunch of mass market emails. Now, we know that drip campaigns also result in 119% higher click-through rates compared to regular email. And again, think about why. They've opted in, like they want this thing. And chances are, if the first email they get, which is that lead magnet, is linked to the second email and you're giving them something else that's valuable, of course they're going to want to open it. Of course they're going to want to click it. So we know that these campaigns perform well. They perform better than just normal emails that we would send out. High quality content really helps to build trusting relationships with subscribers. It warms up leads and it gradually turns them into customers. And the key part to underscore here is it's high quality content. It's not about just jamming up somebody's inbox with yet another email. When we provide something of value, we're really doing justice not only to them, but for us as a business. Now, another thing that's amazing is then when you set up a drip campaign, once it's set up, you now free up your time to go do other things in your business because it works automatically. It works 24/7, 365 without constant oversight. So you can be sleeping or sitting on a beach in Cancun and it doesn't matter because that marketing funnel is running. The automation is coming out and you don't have to do anything to make that happen once it's set up. Now, the purpose of the email series really is 3 things. The first thing, we got to deliver the promised content. That's the lead magnet. Then it needs to nurture the relationship. And the third is all of it is driving towards the sale. So here's what the blueprint looks like. And this is going to be the exact sequence that you're going to build for your first marketing funnel. So on day 0, meaning the exact moment in time that that person signs up for your opt-in, they share their email information, you send them the lead magnet. That's the first email, but it's sent on day 0. It's immediate. Then the next 4 days, you're going to continue to send emails. And then you're going to wait a couple days and send it on day 7. And you're going to wait a couple more days and send it on day 10. So over the course of 10 days, you will send 7 different emails, all of them pointing towards one goal, and that's generating a sale in your business for a specific product or service. Now, I want to show you a good example and a bad example, just so you can see how this comes together. So let's just assume this is a B2B business where they need to book a sales consultation, and that's really the conversion that they're looking for, is getting together with someone so they can meet in person and then talk about their business. So use the example on the left first. So let's just say there's a lead magnet that's set up, someone opts in, you send it to them. And then the next day, they send over an email and says, hey, you should become our partner. And then the next email says, hey, schedule a meeting. A little bit too soon. You know, we're not ready yet. We're not warmed up. Like, hey, yeah, you sent me something, but like, I don't even know you yet. I don't know how I feel about you yet. You know, you haven't given me enough value and you haven't exposed me to enough of your work for me to feel like I'm ready to become your partner, right? We're just not there yet. The relationship is not there. So let's look at a better example with the same type of business. So it starts with that lead magnet file. We send it over as soon as they sign up. Maybe the next day, you're now sending tips about sales, the idea of helping that person improve their sales conversions. Okay, cool. The next day, how to overcome sales obstacles. All right, valuable? Yeah. Now, maybe on the next day, we now say, okay, I want to share a little bit of information about us and our company, but I'm going to link them to some more resources that are really great. Then, email 5, we now send over a sales partnership case study. And case studies are really great because they're typically showing our work. It could be testimonials or social proof where they're actually seeing how something performed that we actually sell. Then, after all of that, we might now be ready to tee up. Like, hey, do you want to book a sales consultation? Like, let's talk. I want to show you what we could do for you. And then we kind of re-engage at the end, like, hey, you still interested? Just wanted to make sure. This makes a lot more sense, right? It's allowing us to naturally develop the relationship. It's allowing us to showcase who we are and what we do and really prove to that lead that we can offer them something, a real benefit, something that can actually help them and serve them in their lives or in their businesses. So here's what this is going to look like, and this is how I'm going to teach you to build it. So as I mentioned, there will be 7 emails over the course of 10 days. And the first one starts the day they sign up, and that's a welcome email, and you're going to immediately deliver the lead magnet. Now, the next day, in email number 2, you're going to agitate the issue because we want to keep them in a state of thinking like, yeah, no, this really is a problem, or I haven't figured this out yet. So we want to agitate the problem a little bit more so that we can tee up another piece of valuable content for them. Now, in day 2, which will now be email 3, you're going to use a short introduction to yourself. You're going to offer some value and then invite them to reply. This is one of the things I really love as a strategy in email is when you say, hey, hit reply and let me know what's happening in your business, or hit reply and let me know what's top of mind for you about this thing, right? Opening that door really makes you personable, and it shows that it's not just a one-way conversation. Then day number 3, which is now email number 4, you're going to offer more value. And at this point in time, you're actually going to tease what you're going to pitch tomorrow, because the next email is going to be a sales pitch. So I want you to just soft sell it here, just a little bit of a sprinkle of what's coming tomorrow. Like, hey, I wanted to let you know tomorrow I'm going to share something with you. Okay? Then in email 5, you're going to present the product or service with a strong call to action. So this, no matter what you're selling, product or service, you're going to tee it up. And you really want to be talking about the benefits, and that means benefits for the customer, not the features, okay? So we have a tendency to talk about the features like, oh, you get this, 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 this. No, talk to them about the benefits and how it's going to transform them, to help them, to aid them. Then email number 6 is actually going to come 3 days later, and you're going to return to presenting about the sales pitch. But this time you're going to share some customer testimonials, some social proof. And the reason for this is it's helping really showcase your credibility and your authority in the space, but also really show what you're capable of doing, or show what happens when someone buys from you. What results did they get? Because that in many cases is going to help people make the decision to buy. And then day number 10, if they haven't purchased from you yet, we just want to re-engage. And you can use the simple question like, hey, are you still interested? And you can tee up an email just around that, like, hey, wanted to make sure you saw our last email. If you're still interested in hearing from us, stay on the email list, and I'll, make sure we continue to share things with you. And you reiterate again what it was you were offering. This is a simple, straightforward way to craft it, and we're going to walk through it step by step. Okay, now here's the thing about email, and you got to know this before we get into crafting the emails themselves. The job of the subject line is to sell the open. So think about when emails come over in your inbox, there's only several characters, like 70 to 100 characters that you can actually see. So we need that subject line to hum, because that's going to make someone want to open it. Then the job of the email body is to sell the click. So we want to be focused on that singular action that we want that person reading to take. We want them to click, so we got to be selling it, and we're going to do that with the words that are in the email itself. So let's look at some things. Let's start by looking at the subject line, and here's just an example on the left-hand side. I took my shot and I failed spectacularly. I love it. It's a really catchy subject line. This would make me want to open it, and obviously I did. So without a compelling subject line, your email may never get opened, which means you're no closer to a click or a sale. So even if somebody opted in and they requested that lead magnet, they may choose not to open your email if that subject line isn't speaking to them. Now, the key here is short and descriptive subject lines often perform well. This does not mean you need a bunch of words to do it. So a few tips that can be really helpful to craft subject lines is you can ask questions that pique interest and drive curiosity. You can use urgency or scarcity to play up that fear of missing out. I got to tell you, FOMO, it still works, and it works in email. You can use numbers and stats, and that's a really powerful one, like 5 things that you have to know before you blah, blah, blah. Use that same strategy here, just like you would use as the headline for your landing page. And you can personalize it with the recipient's name. And this is why it is so important to request that name when they opt in, because you can personalize the subject line and you can also personalize the body of the email. So that can be a really compelling way to get a really good subject line. Now, I wanted to just share a couple of examples from many different marketing funnels that I've engaged in. So on the left, learn how to thrive in this era, Hillary. What did they do? Well, they put my name in the headline. You think I'm going to open it? Oh yeah, totally. Now, before you spend another minute on social media, read this. So what are they playing to here? Oh, like some kind of you're missing out. You might be wasting your time, maybe a little bit of fear, but the tactic often works. It'll get us to open. Now, the next one, your guide inside, $1 million behavior. This is actually the email that came immediately after requesting the lead magnet. So as soon as I entered the opt-in, this is what came over. It's promising, or it's delivering what was promised. And that's where you'll commonly see the what you've requested or what you signed up for show there. So often the word your shows up in the headline there. And then one that I just thought was kind of funny on the right side. Sorry, I forgot to include this. It's kind of a funny approach, but I like it because it's personable. And it also, to me, alludes to the fact that there's actually something really productive coming on the other side of that headline. So just note, there's lots of ways you can craft these, and we're going to talk about how to do it and to really get one that works for you. Now, the other part of these emails is the body itself. It's what's coming after the headline that's really conveying what you're doing. Now, email marketing is way different than social media. It's far more personal and targeted because it's landing directly in this person's inbox. Now, the key to writing great email copy is not like one of these exclusive secrets that's known only to experts. It's actually all about simplicity. So focus on the singular intention for the email and then think like your customer as you write. It's really your ability to step in their shoes and think like they think that's going to help you write copy that makes sense, that's going to help progress them towards that singular call to action. Now, here are some tips about how to write a great email. First off, personalize it when possible. People like that. They like being spoken to as in a first name or a first person name, like, hi Hillary, hi Susan, hi Tom. That's awesome. So use that personalization whenever you can. Also, use action-oriented language. That's all about verbs. So you want to use some strong verbs that really create the sense of action in the email. Also, prioritize clarity over catchiness. So yes, you can use things that are like cute and catchy. However, the clarity is key. People need to understand and know exactly what's happening and not have to read the tea leaves to understand your email. Now, the subject line also needs to be aligned with the body copy. And I have to say, this is really important because if you're using some kind of bait in the subject line, but it's not corresponding with the body copy, we've got a mismatch, and that's not going to get you the result you want. Another tip is to write in second person, and this means you're using the language you, your, yours. Why is that important? because the person, when they're reading it, is really taking it to heart because it means something to them because they're putting themselves in the shoes of what's being written. Now, you also want to talk about benefits and not the features. And again, as marketers, we make this mistake a lot. We really think we need to be showing the features of all these things, like you get this and this and this. But so often what we're missing is talking about the benefit and the problems it's solving and really thinking about how that affects our ideal client. Now, be brief and keep your sentences short. And by that, I mean, if you notice you're putting a bunch of commas and a bunch of ands, you got too much in that sentence. Crop them down. Now, I do want you to let your personality shine. And this is key. I mean, you got to be you, and it speaks. And you'll notice there are some emails that are so dry and terrible, there's no personality on the other side. So let you be you. Let the personality of your personal brand or your company's brand shine through in what you're saying. Another thing that's key is you can use bolding or bullet points for the really important copy on the page. And the reason why is because a lot of people are skimming through emails to process them and get through them. So if you use those two strategies, you can often call out the content that you really want someone to see. And again, as always, use a singular and very clear call to action. And it's got to be compelling, okay? Those are some great tips on how to write a really great email. Now, another couple of pro tips just around the process itself. The first thing is I just encourage you to write in whatever way works for you. And for some of you, that may be with pen and paper. Like, you may just need to get old school and sit down and sketch it out and really think about it and then later hit your computer. If that's you, rock it out. I also find it really helpful to just start with an outline. Like, I don't want to drop into writing the full paragraphs. I think the outline is often the best place to start. You can hit the main points and come back and really flesh it out. Now, personally, we prefer using Google Docs when we start to type up our emails. And the reason why is that, one, we host them in one place so we never lose them. So we can always come back and use them again. Also, it's easier to check spelling and grammar issues because it's going to point you to the errors you've made. You can also format text there. And often it's just easier to do that inside of Google Docs than it is inside of your email marketing software. And you can just take it and copy paste it in at that point. So those are things that we like to do just from a process standpoint, and hopefully they're helpful for you. So it's time to take some action. So the first thing is it's time to map your email series blueprint. So I'm going to ask you again to just set your timer for 60 minutes because I don't want you overdoing this part. We really want to get good ideas out and not over obsess about, is this the right thing? Because what's going to tell you if it works is when it's in action. So we want to put some good ideas out, but this is not the time to really beat your head against the wall and make it quote unquote perfect, right? So in the worksheet, you're going to map out the overall flow of the emails and what you're going to be offering in each one of them with some notes about what the copy is going to say. And I just ask you to remember where you're headed because everything here is headed towards that future sale. So you've got to keep that in mind. Where is the end goal? Where are you driving to? And how can you keep adding to that value proposition and giving this person more and more and more that's going to eventually tip them over into the sale. Now, the next thing you're going to do is just craft a draft of each email. And again, I'm going to give you some time limits to this because I don't want you going nuts and then spinning out. So I just recommend like 30 minutes to write the first draft for each of your emails. So set the timer, knock out one. If it takes you less time, awesome. If you're noticing it's taking longer, that's okay, but don't feel the need to give it hours and hours of time. Just try to condense it down just to get the words on paper. Because remember, in the tips, it's about being brief. So don't let this turn into like an essay that you're turning in for, a college class, right? And remember the tips to the great email. You want to be clear, be personable, and write in second person using language you, your, and yours. And think about helping your customer. Oftentimes I find working with my coaching clients, when they kind of start wigging out about creating marketing, I pull them back with this one thing. Do you want to serve people? Do you want to help the people that you do with your business? And that answer is always yes for business owners. As business owners, we truly want to serve and we truly want to help. And when we step into that mindset, what we're doing is really embracing a service-centric mindset. And if you operate from that place, it really helps shift the dialogue. So instead of being like, man, I got to crank this out and push this out, it's now like, wow, how could I actually serve? What would help this person? And when we step into those shoes, we tend to do a better job. And honestly, we tend to craft better marketing. Now, one of the things you're going to do as part of this process, and I love this, so I hope you enjoy it too, is you're going to test your headlines, because what you want are headlines that are going to get some opens, right? So you're going to run each of your headlines through one of the testing tools recommended. Of course, you're going to see this in the workbook. And with the insights you get from those testing tools, I'm going to encourage you just to tweak your headlines with the insights gained and then land on the one that you're going to use. So I think that this is a really fun tool. I think you'll enjoy it too. The way these tools work is they're aggregating information from the internet at large that's telling us about what people click on and what people engage with. And it's going to help you really pull out words and sentiments and even character length that's going to help you get better conversion. All right, that's it. So at this point, jump into the workbook, get busy on some of that homework, and then I will see you in the next lesson, and we're going to keep this baby going. All right, you got this. See you soon.